Welcome to Chronicle, where history isn't just about dates and events, but the untold stories that shape the world. Today, we dive deep into a political drama that unfolded with twists and turns, a moment in history that left an indelible mark on India's democracy. Stay tuned as we unravel the intriguing tale of how one vote, one decision, and one night of suspense changed everything. Let's begin. In April 1999, at around 1:30 p.m., while sipping chilled watermelon juice, Om Prakash Chautala announced that he was supporting the Vajpayee government in the national interest, sending waves of happiness through the government. However, in this game of deception, the government's face lit up with premature smiles. Yet, some noticed that someone passed a note to Lok Sabha Secretary S. Gopalan, who then wrote something on it and sent it off to be typed. That typed paper contained the decision of Lok Sabha Speaker GMC Balayogi, which allowed Congress MP Giridhar Gomang to cast his vote at his discretion. In fact, Gomang had become the Chief Minister of Odisha in February but had not yet resigned from his Lok Sabha membership. Senior journalist Swapan Dasgupta wrote in the May 10, 1999, issue of India Today, that night, no one slept. On behalf of the government, BJP MP Rangarajan Kumaramangalam even assured Mayawati that if the script played out in their favor, she could become the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh by evening. After observing her activities in the camp, opposition leader Sharad Pawar approached her. Mayawati wanted to know if the government would fall if she voted against it. Pawar's reply was a clear, yes. When it came time to vote, Mayawati yelled loudly, looking at her MPs, press the red button. As everyone turned to look at the electronic scoreboard, the entire house was shaken. There were 269 votes in favor of the Vajpayee government and 270 against it. Shakti Sinha, who recently authored a book on Vajpayee titled Vajpayee, The Years That Changed India, remarked, forming the government was difficult. From day one, there were issues among allies over ministerial allocations. Within just a week, 2 ministers had to resign. This caused a lot of resentment. Jayalalitha was creating a ruckus from the very beginning, demanding that other ministers accused of corruption should also be removed. Then, confusion arose over the election of the speaker. The language used during the debates was far from parliamentary. Even in the United States, when a new president takes office, they are given a grace period of 100 days. For a month or two, people remain enthusiastic about the government and are less critical. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was denied this privilege. He wasn't that fortunate. Vajpayee was not willing to accept Jayalalitha's demands. She wanted all cases against her to be withdrawn and the Karunanidhi government in Tamil Nadu to be dismissed. Additionally, she insisted on making Subramanian Swamy the finance minister, which Vajpayee refused to do. Shakti Sinha mentioned that Jayalalitha also sought assistance in her income tax cases. The government had tried to help her legally in every possible way. Allegations against her were moved from a special court to a regular court, but the Supreme Court dismissed this. She also demanded that if Vajpayee did not appoint Swamy as finance minister, at least the Minister of State for Revenue should not work under the Finance Ministry. Meanwhile, Outlook editor Vinod Mehta visited Vajpayee at his residence. In his autobiography, Mehta wrote, "When I saw him, he seemed deep in thought. He was very quiet, unable to resist. I asked him what was troubling him. Vajpayee laughed and replied, 'After you, I have a meeting with Jayalalitha.'" On April 6, all of Jayalalitha's ministers submitted their resignations to Vajpayee. 2 days later, she submitted her resignation to the president. The following day, AIADMK recalled its members from the coordination committee. A few days later, Jayalalitha came to Delhi and stayed at a 5-star hotel, bringing along 48 suitcases of luggage. Over the next few days, political activities in Delhi intensified. On April 11th, at 11 a.m., she met with the president and handed over a letter withdrawing AIADMK's support for the Vajpayee government. Narayanan called for a vote of confidence. Although the next parliamentary budget session was scheduled, President K.R. Narayanan asked Vajpayee to seek a vote of confidence. Shakti Sinha commented, "In my view, both then and now, this was an unnecessary decision. Since the parliament session was ongoing, the proper course of action would have been to bring a no-confidence motion against the Vajpayee government or to defeat the government by rejecting the money bill during the budget session." Vajpayee's opponents cited the examples of 1990 and 1997, but in both instances, the next parliamentary session had not been scheduled for the very next day. This was not done because the opposition lacked consensus on an alternative to Vajpayee, and there was a belief that if, for any reason, the no-confidence motion failed, they would not be able to bring another no-confidence motion for the next 6 months as per the rules. As far as Giridhar Gamang's vote was concerned, Lok Sabha Speaker Balayogi, acting on the advice of Lok Sabha Secretary S. Gopalan, left the matter to Gamang's discretion. Following his conscience, Gamang decided to obey his party's directive and voted against the vote of confidence. Later, several members of parliament criticized the speaker's decision, with some questioning Gopalan's advice, weighing it against political bias. They pointed out that Gopalan had been appointed by former Lok Sabha Speaker Purno Sangma. Interestingly, Giridhar Gamang, who played a key role in toppling the Vajpayee government, later joined the Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP). The government also made a major mistake in full management. After a party split in January, Arunachal Pradesh MP Raj Kumar had turned against former Chief Minister Gegong Apang, leading to divisions in the party. However, no one from the government reached out to seek his support. As a result, he voted against the government. Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah sidelined senior Member of Parliament Saifuddin Sori from Baramulla while promoting his son, Omar Abdullah. Every year, the Indian government sends a Hajj delegation to Saudi Arabia. Sori had recommended some people for it, but when Farooq Abdullah found out, he withdrew the names. Sori changed everything by voting against the Vajpayee government. Former Prime Minister Inder Kumar Gujral, who had entered the Lok Sabha with the support of the Akalis, also voted against the government in which the Akalis were a part. On the second day of the debate, Vajpayee himself called Kanshi Ram, who told him that he was leaving Delhi. He mentioned that his party could not support him but would not vote against him either. Providing complete details of this incident, Swapan Das Gupta and Sumit Mitra wrote in their article, "The Inside Story, Is India Moving Towards a Two-Party System?" Published in India Today on May 10, 1999. Kanshi Ram was out of Delhi a day before the polling. Just before midnight, Arjun Singh called Kanshi Ram and persuaded him to return to Delhi. Kamal Nath's private plane at the Spain resort was ready to bring him back, but Kanshi Ram insisted on traveling to Delhi via a regular Alliance Airlines flight, which was scheduled to land at 9:40 am. Arjun Singh's concern was that, if the government found out about Kanshi Ram's travel plans, they might delay the flight. Therefore, the Rabri Devi government's aircraft was also kept on standby. Late at night, BSP MPs Arif Muhammad Khan and Akbar Dumpy called Mayawati and said that if she appeared to be saving the BJP government, her Muslim voters would not appreciate it. At 2 am, Mayawati called Dumpy and Arif and told them to consider their concerns while voting. She asked them to come to her house at 9 am. Meanwhile, Sonia Gandhi herself called Mayawati, and the plan to topple the Vajpayee government was finalized. Shakti Sinha said, there had been talk for days that Vajpayee would be the future Prime Minister, and he became Prime Minister with such difficulty, but this government could not sustain itself even for 13 months. He lost by just one vote. Vajpayee was certainly shocked. When Vajpayee returned to his room after the voting, I saw him very disappointed. There were tears in his eyes. The grief he felt was evident on his face, but within 5 to 7 minutes, he composed himself and left for Rashtrapati Bhavan, President's house, to submit his resignation. On April 21, Sonia Gandhi met President Narayanan and claimed that she had the support of 272 MPs. Meanwhile, Mulayam Singh Yadav once again proposed Jyoti Basu as Prime Minister. Unlike in 1996, the Communist Party of India (CPIM) seemed ready for it this time. However, the Congress was not willing to give leadership to any other party. Later, Mulayam Singh outright refused to support the Congress. Defense Minister George Fernandez played a significant role in this decision. L.K. Advani, in his book My Country, My Life, detailed the incident, writing, "I received a call from George Fernandez on April 21 or 22. He said, Lalaji, I have good news for you. Sonia Gandhi will not be able to form the next government. A senior leader from the opposition wants to meet you, but this meeting cannot take place at your house or mine." Advani further writes, "It was decided that this meeting would take place at Jaya Jaitli's house in Shugan Singh Park. When I arrived at Jaya Jaitli's house, Mulayam Singh Yadav and George Fernandez were already there. Fernandez told me that he had been assured that, under no circumstances, would his 20 members of parliament support Sonia Gandhi's attempt to become Prime Minister. Mulayam Singh Yadav repeated this to me but also said, Advani ji, these are my conditions. After my declaration that our party will not support Sonia Gandhi in forming the government, you will have to promise that you will not make a claim to form the government again. I want fresh elections now." By then, the NDA circles had decided to hold mid-term elections rather than attempt to form the government again. President Narayanan called Vajpayee to Rashtrapati Bhavan and advised him to recommend the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. The cabinet had recommended the dissolution of the Lok Sabha, but it was clearly stated that they were doing so on the advice of President Narayanan. The president's office did not appear to be pleased, but by then, Vajpayee was not concerned about what the president thought of him. So, this was another historical journey on Chronicle. You've seen how a single vote changed the destiny of a nation. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Chronicle, and share it with your friends. Here, we don't just tell history, we find a lesson in every story. So stay connected with us, because as long as Chronicle exists, the stories will never end.